Cruise news time. Well, Carnival has decided that they will keep their current vaccine policy all the way until the end of the year. It begs the question, what other protocols are we likely to be dealing with for the rest of 2021 and possibly into 2022? Cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, happy Monday, happy Labor Day to everybody that's celebrating here in the United States. It's September the 6th, 2021, and it would be a good time to take a break from, some traditional news and talk about what the landscape of cruising looks like going forward for the next 3 months. We've had Carnival come out last week and announce not only would they be moving to a pre-cruise testing period, a requirement of 2 days before your cruise, but they would also be extending their vaccine requirement for the rest of the year. For September, October, November, December, the vaccine policy that they have in place, they're going ahead and they're saying that that is going to be the vaccine policy for the rest of 2021. And who knows, it may carry into 2022. But it brings up a lot of questions. It also, let me say this on the front end, if you're somebody, when these cruise lines announced that their policies have been extended and you were hanging out waiting to see what the policies were going to be for December or sometime in the future, and you don't like those policies, now is the time to say, look, I would like to move my cruise or get a refund. Cruise lines have been very hesitant to give a refund or to move that cruise prior to the policies being known. And so as you hear your cruise line announce their policies for around the time that you're going to cruise, that would be the time to change your reservation if that's what you want to do. If you don't like the policies, this is the time to change it. But I got a little list here of policies that I think we will see in place for the rest of 2021 and possibly into 2022. And I've got some things to say about the CDC. Let me give you some of the things on this list and then we'll talk CDC. I don't know, just a loose show today. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. Hope everybody's chilling, getting to barbecue, doing something fun today if you're not working. So first and foremost, the vaccine policy. What we're seeing through most of the cruise lines here in the US and globally is a requirement for a vaccine. Carnival still has an exemption policy when it comes to the vaccine, primarily to deal with kids that are unable to get vaccinated. It will be interesting to see over the next few months if there is an approved vaccine for kids 11 and under, if that will change the vaccine policy. But one thing that's probably going to be true for the rest of the year is that whatever cruise line you go on, there will be a requirement for vaccines, and those cruises will be cruising primarily vaccinated with very few exemptions. Vaccines, they're here to stay. Number two, I think masks are going to be here to stay for a while indoors. Now, not every cruise line's doing it. Norwegian Cruise Line sailing with no mask. Carnival, you're only masking in certain places indoors. But I do believe that until we see some sort of break, some sort of tailing off of the Delta variant, we've got to see cases drive low again. I think because of those rising cases, we're going to continue to see masking on cruise ships. And a lot of people say, look, tests aren't 100%. Masking, it's questionable whether they do what they say they're going to do. Distancing, does that really work? Why are we doing all of these things? Well, the approach that the cruise lines are taking at the recommendation of the CDC is a layered approach. And so, yes, tests aren't 100%. If you test 2 days before the cruise port, a good argument would be, well, couldn't I get it sometime between those 2 days? And does that make the test even worthwhile? True. But, the thing is, you have the test and you layer over the mask and you layer over the distancing and, all these things. It's like having anti-lock brakes and a seat belt and an airbag in your car and new tires. All of those things work together to make a more robust safety experience. Same thing with cruise ships. There's not a silver bullet that's going to solve this problem, and so they're trying to load the gun with many silver bullets, if you were. All right, so masks, they're probably going to be here till the end of 2021. This one I think is going to last beyond 2021, and I think this is one of the shining stars of the shutdown, the e-muster process. Every cruise line has seemed to take a look look at the old congregational standing together in the hot sun muster process to go through the safety briefing. And I think that, one of the shining stars out of this whole shutdown is the reimagining of the muster using technology to give the same information in a way where people don't have to congregate together, which is important for the pandemic. But I think it's important overall. I think it's going to streamline the muster process, make it more speedy on embarkation day. And I think that is a change that will last throughout of 2021 and into the future. Another protocol that I think will last throughout the rest of 2021 into 2022 is pre-cruise testing. Again, a lot of conversation about that recently. Everybody getting tested before they get onto the cruise ship. The conversation started a few weeks ago. Well, if I'm fully vaccinated, why do I have to be tested before I go on the cruise? Well, we know that fully vaccinated doesn't mean that you are, it's not sterilizing immunity. It's not prevention from contracting the virus, but it is prevention from really severe COVID, hospitalized COVID, fatal COVID. That's the advantage of the vaccine. It puzzles me sometimes when I see that in the comments. Like, why did I get the vaccine if I have to wear a mask or get a test? Well, honestly, you got the vaccine so that the COVID didn't put you in the hospital or kill you. I mean, if you want to boil it down to what it's worth, I mean, maybe people got it for other reasons, but that should have been, in my opinion, the reason that you got it. But so we know that with the Delta variant, that vaccinated people, we're seeing more vaccinated people contract the Delta variant and spread the Delta variant, that the viral load's the same in unvaccinated and vaccinated people with the Delta variant. Fortunately, that for most vaccinated people, that's not going to result in hospitalizations, but that's got you out there putting a lot of risk for people that are unvaccinated who may not deal with it as well. And so, you're going to have this pre-cruise testing because at the end of the day, the cruise lines want the least amount of virus on board as possible. Again, the layered approach. Part of the reason to wear the mask as a vaccinated individual is so if you do have the Delta variant, that you're not spreading it to other vaccinated people and unvaccinated people and grandmas and stuff like that. And so, pre-cruise testing, the cruise lines want to do everything they can to identify the virus and keep it off of the cruise ship. And by testing everybody before they go on their cruise or having everybody show up with a negative COVID test, that's going to do something. It's not going to do 100% of something, but it is going to mitigate and possibly catch. I heard Richard Fain say that, they've had people that have been turned away at embarkation because of testing, or people, I've had people in the comments say, I showed up positive before I was supposed to go on my cruise. And so positive cases have been kept off board by pre-cruise testing, and I think that's why that's going to be around for a while, because it's actually keeping some COVID off the cruise ship. Now, before we jump into the next few, let me quickly invite you to subscribe if you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising. If you'd like to be a part of this conversation, if you wanted your comment to be seen within the first hour of the video, that's when I'm usually looking at comments. You got to be part of the notification squad, so subscribe, hit the notification bell, and that way you won't miss out on any of the interaction or any of the videos, and it helps me out. Thank you in advance. I do have a few more protocols I want to highlight that I think are going to be around, but I do want to bring around another conversation. So let's talk about the CDC. Let's talk about the conditional sail order. This is interesting. Carnival said they're extending their vaccine requirement all the way out until the end of the year. Now, we know a few things have happened, right? The state of Florida, they sued the CDC saying that they've overreached the power that was given to them in the form of the conditional sail order. This case went in front of a judge, and the judge decided that if it ran its course, there would be a good probability that it would be found that the CDC had overstepped the authority given to them with their conditional sail order, and he put an injunction in place in Florida where essentially the cruise lines can self-regulate and they don't have to follow the conditional sail order. And when that decision came down, it seemed like a time when the cruise lines would say, okay, CDC, we'll just take you on as an advisement and we'll do our own thing, we'll self-regulate. But something different happened. They came together as a group under the umbrella of CLIA and said, no, whatever the rules you have, CDC, we'll follow those. Now, why would they do that? Wouldn't they like to get from under the thumb of the CDC? Well, the interesting thing is, as these companies have extended things, like Carnival very specifically, as they extended out their vaccine, or as they brought in the 2-day testing, they're like, look, what can we do? It's what the CDC recommends, and we want to do what the CDC recommends. By following the CDC, by not going their own way and self-regulating, the CDC still gets to be the boogeyman, which is kind of interesting. But what is equally interesting is the conditional sell order is set to expire on October the 31st. And so all of these rules that the cruise lines are supposedly acquiescing to so they stay in alignment with the CDC, all of those rules could be gone at the end of October. Now, in reality, the conditional sell order will probably be extended, but as it sits on paper now, the oversight of the CDC, poof, it goes away October the 31st. Yet we have like Carnival extending their vaccine protocol all the way out through beyond October the 31st, November, December. Maybe they're anticipating that the boogeyman still is in place, or maybe this is how they want to cruise. But I don't know. That, to me, that's just an interesting thing. What's going to happen, and we've said this before, as the no-sell order came up to expire, as these extensions have come up to expire, as the conditional sell order comes up to expire, what will the cruise lines do? What will the cruise lines do if the oversight of the CDC goes away? Will they do business the same way, or will they do business differently? But right now, they get a lot of cover from the CDC saying that the CDC made us do it. I don't know. I'm tracking it. To me, it's an interesting narrative. Look, I full on believe this, and I know people get mad when I talk about it, but I believe that regardless of what your ideology is for business, or your ideology is for politics, or your ideology is for culture, there are forces at play that know the buttons that they can push to manipulate every one of us. And so again, no shade against Carnival, but it's a brilliant move to say, look, I know you're not going to like the protocols that we're putting out, but what can we do? The CDC is making us do it. And so each person, you got to do this. You got to do this. Again, step back and think of all of the things that you believe and ask yourself why you believe that and who's manipulating you to believe it. And you will find somebody that it's in their best interest to manipulate you. And again, that's cynical, Tony, but it's the way the world works. Okay, a few more protocols that I think will still be in place for the rest of 2021 into 2022. Physical distancing. This is another one, part of the layered approach. If you're over there without a mask and you're chucking viral stuff out of your mouth and out of your nose, maybe it's 6 feet, it won't get in my business, right? So that's why distancing is in place. Hopefully you got a mask on and you're catching your own stuff that's chucking out of your mouth. Distancing, I think the move toward paperless, it makes sense not only for not handling stuff, but I think the cruise lines like it because it is a cost savings. If you can get everybody to use their smart device to look at menus, to anytime that the schedule, anytime that you can stop printing stuff that costs money, it's a lot easier to program a website and let everybody use that than to print stuff out on a daily basis. So menus and schedules, I think we'll continue to see a push toward kiosk type experiences where you're looking at a screen to figure out what you're going to eat opposed to looking at a piece of paper. Crew masking, the same way that there's going to be masking for passengers, I think there's going to be masking for crew. We have this debate around the house sometimes. Is it fair for the crew members to have to mask up when the passengers don't have to mask up? I think you'll see the mask come off passengers before they do the crew. That's what we saw at the beginning of cruising. I cruised a few times where I didn't have to wear a mask, but crew members had to wear a mask. It was a little odd, but so I think crew masking will be around for a bit. What do you guys think about that? Should everybody wear a mask, crew and passengers, or does it make some sort of sense for the passengers not to wear it and the crew members to wear it? That's an interesting conversation. And then finally, capacity. We see some cruise lines more aggressive than others. Carnival, 60-70%. We see Royal sometimes 30%. I mean, I think over time we're going to see that capacity increase. That's the only way these cruise lines can make money. But yeah, for right now, it seems like just getting the process going, getting people on cruise ships is important. But at some point, you gotta make money. And so it's interesting. Now, the other thing I want to cover before I get out of here, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, is the response to this. I know these protocols, I know there's people I've seen in the comments that absolutely hate them, and I see a wide variety of approaches to it. I see people that say, look, I don't like the protocols right now. I'm going to go on an all-inclusive. I'm going to go get an RV. I'm going to go camping. Blessings. We love everybody. We'll be back when it's back. I've also seen people out there going, you know what? If this is the way the cruise line's going to do it, to heck with them. I hope they crash and burn. I hope they scrap every cruise ship. I hope that the cruise industry implodes on itself. I don't. Somebody's got to help me out with this kind of stuff because it is Monday and I am being a little reflective. I'm not one that says if something isn't the way I like it, that I want that thing like, oh, I want all these jobs to go away and I want all these industry to go away. I don't know. Somebody help me out with that. Let's all play armchair psychologist. Are you somebody that if you get on the chip, you want to take your ball and go home? Or do you want to just say, hey, man, the industry has to do what it's going to do. I can't be a part of it right now. I'll come back and revisit. What? Maybe it's just frustrating. Are you frustrated out there? I know a lot of people are frustrated. And so let's kumbaya it for a second and say, yes, we're all frustrated, but I don't know. It's just a rambling Monday. Okay, I hope you guys are cool. I just thought I would throw a few things out there. What protocol? I'm still going to say that the masking protocol is the most hated protocol. I think testing is moving up into second place. I think a majority of people are cool with the vaccine. I think there's a small vocal number of people that are really not cool with the vaccine. But I think if we polled everybody together, I think 1 and 2 are going to be the mask and the testing. Which one do you dislike the most as a protocol? And, you know, there's always going to be the one person like, I love all of it. We got to be safe. Of course we have to be safe. Nobody's saying that we're not supposed to be safe. But which one of these protocols irks you the most? Thank you so much for checking out the show today. Please hit the like button or the cheap variable ND filter that you bought for your really nice lens. Well, it's going to vignette. And the footage is going to look stupid. And you'll be like, wow, why'd I spend all this money for stupid looking footage? You don't want that. This is Tony with Lido, Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.